Hello and welcome to another review of a film that I've seen on Mubi. This time I'm reviewing the film Moneyboys, directed by C.B. Yi. The first thing that really struck me about this film is the cinematography. It is beautifully shot. The images are really interesting to look at. I really enjoyed just looking at this film. The film shifts tonally quite a lot between the different scenes. Some of the scenes are very blue and minimalist. Others are very orange and red and warm. And then others again are neon and glittery. And so it's a really good film to look at. There's two principal themes in this film. Firstly, what it's like to be gay in a society that is very homophobic. And secondly, what it's like to be a sex worker in terms of the ability to have meaningful relationships. And our main character, Faye, is both gay and a sex worker. As a sex worker, he's very cold and detached, and this does overspill into his relationships with friends and family. But we do get some glimpses throughout the film of his desire for emotional connection, and there's a general sadness around that. But I think that as a film, this really explores these issues, very effectively. The most interesting thing I found about this film was the structure. The film is structured, it feels to me, around three conversations that take place around a round table. One near the beginning of the film, one in the middle, and one towards the end. And it feels that these are really significant, although I haven't fully, in my own mind, decided how I want to interpret what the meaning of these things are. But the first one is a very artificial situation where people are living a lie. We're at a wedding scene, which is actually a fake wedding with people getting married to conform to what society expects. When I started watching it, I was thinking, this is really badly made. The acting feels wooden. It feels like a bad play, the way the characters are standing around. But actually, in the context of having seen the whole film, I think this is deliberate. The acting reflects the awkwardness and discomfort of these characters as they play out this fake wedding, a real wedding, but everything isn't what it seems at face value. The second roundtable conversation is a discussion with men around the table. This is a discussion focused around really toxic male culture and homophobia. And this is a much more authentic conversation, and it's much more that the writing feels much more authentic. It does feel real. The camera's very close to the characters. It seems to be handheld, and we really feel the discomfort and awkwardness of Faye as he experiences this shaming and abuse from the males in the town where he's from. And the final group of people is what you might call the kind of consequences of everything we've seen before in the film, and the impact of restrictions on the pursuit of love, of genuine love. There are people at that table who genuinely love each other, but who cannot be together and are having to live fraudulent lives, and the difficulties of coming to accept that. The way this is shot, that final conversation around the table, is so interesting because the camera moves a lot. It seems to be handheld. It's very close, and it just moves slowly. I really noticed it. I don't know why it does it, but it just made it all really compelling. I loved in the toxic male conversation, the middle conversation, how at the end, I said it's more authentic, but at the end, there's a fight scene in the back of the scene, which is through a doorway, and it almost looks like a theatre piece. It looks like a set piece, like it's very theatrical. And so this kind of tension between the authentic and the inauthentic, I think, is really interesting about this film. I do have a question over the opening scene. Is Tarkovsky's Stalker, where a camera pans above the water with very stalker-type music. The music creates an atmosphere, but I just wonder what the purpose of that was. For me, it definitely evoked Tarkovsky's Stalker, and I'm not sure why it did that. I don't feel that sits there right. The other point I would make is the ending is ambiguous, and I'm often happy with an ambiguous ending. I certainly don't need everything tied up, but this is ambiguous in a way that doesn't feel satisfying. And the actual closing scene is a dance scene, which is a flashback, so it's not actually at the end of the film, where we see Faye, our main character, at his happiest. And I don't know, it didn't feel like it was it felt out of place with the rest of the film. It's almost like in the final scene he finds happiness with freedom dancing. It didn't really feel like it fitted, given this really interesting 2-hour journey that the film had taken me on. So I would say this is a very worthwhile watch, and particularly the structure of the film. I found that 3 conversation structure around the tables particularly interesting. Next, I'm going to be reviewing Breaking the Waves, the 1996 film directed by Lars von Trier. See you next time.